Welcome to this episode of Brilliant Brains and Beautiful Minds. I'm your host, Melanie Burnicle. Passion, purpose, and determination is this designing duo's key driving force to strive for excellence and settle for nothing less. Here to share their journey today are our guests, Alisa and Lysandra. All right, so I wanted to sort of go back in time before we get into all the exciting projects you're doing now. But where did you see yourself when you were growing up? Like, obviously, you spent a lot of time together. Did you chat about, when you were kids, what you thought about you'd like to do?
Not really. I don't think we ever thought we were going to do something together. No, I was adamant that I was going to be a police officer. Like, that was my dream from ever since I was 5. There's never been anything. No, it wasn't one of those things like we know we're going to do something together and I mean, growing up, you were never like, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I was never 100% sure. Like, you know how some kids just know what they want to do?
Yep.
I travelled my feet in. I finished school. I went to uni for a semester. I then did personal training and ran my own business for a couple of years. And then I obviously went into the police force, but I probably got the idea. She copied me. See, I was going to do that from the beginning. I did my Year 10 work experience with the police. So that was always my path, and there was never anything that was going to stop me from doing that.
Amazing. Yeah, and then you had your own journey. And what made you change, Alisa, going into the police force? Was it just...
So I ran my business, I think, for about 3 years, and it was actually a very successful business. But I think, like, when you start going to bed counting, going, all right, 4, 3, 2, one more set, come on, push. You're like, this is not my life.
Yeah.
This cannot be my life. So I just had that realization of, like, there's got to be more than just counting and, like, I mean, it was great, but it just wasn't something that I could see long term. And I think Lysandra did the travelling, so she did the Camp America and went to England and did all of that. And I kind of regret not doing that, but I think I had a boyfriend at the time, and I started my business, and I was like, I didn't really do that. And then she'd always wanted to apply for the police force, but it took me a couple of times to get in, actually. So I actually beat her into the police force. So, like, my lifelong dream. And then, so secretly when she's like, I'm applying, and she didn't get in, I was like, yes. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, then what happened is that I sat it like 2 or 3 times, and then I could tell her what was in the exam. So... that she was above. We were at the academy together, but she was just one course ahead of me. We could have been in the same course, but we decided not to. Yeah, so I waited a little bit. I mean, really, you should have waited, but anyway. But no, having said that, every week we would have to do exams in the course.
Yep.
And so after every exam, I'd go. I mean, they were different exams. They did mix the exams up. It wasn't cheating, but it was like, right, I know that I have to prepare for this and that. So she benefited from it.
It was a nice kind of guideline as to what would be in there and, you know, the topics, but they would have different questions. So no cheating. Just sharing information. Just sisterly love.
Yeah,
and then, so with you guys, your mum was a big influence for you growing up, because she seemed like a bit of a powerhouse. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, Mum brought us up, single mother, no family support, like, seriously, like, not a great upbringing, just, yeah. So when she found out she was having twins, it was obviously a massive shock to her. No money behind her, no support whatsoever. But when we were 2, she started her own business. Very ahead of her time for, it was 33 years ago, and she started a second-hand business trading baby furniture. So she opened a store, and people would come in and they'd obviously finish with their baby gear, and she would buy it, she'd clean it up, and then she'd sell it. And that grew into, she started off with one shop and then two shops next to each other and then another shop, and she grew that over 22 years. So I think we were fortunate enough, well, probably not at the time because we had to spend so much of our spare time there.
Yep.
but we saw the back end of how small business works.
Yes.
And I guess we also took away the hard work and the dedication it took. You know, we would have to jump in her van and go around after school, and she'd go to places and buy secondhand cots and then take it back to the shop, and we'd have to clean it and stack the boxes. And I think at the time it was certainly, we weren't loving it, but
no.
It's definitely, looking back on it, it probably instilled a lot of who we are. Yeah, hard work and
strong work ethic. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And then, do you have other siblings as well? No. So it's just
she's the pet dog as well.
I love it. Only sisters can get away with that stuff. Yeah. I've got a couple of sisters, so it's always entertaining. Never a dull moment, that's for sure. Never dull. And so before you went onto the block, were you doing anything with interiors, like anything within your mum's shop? Did that just come?
No, yes. I remember trying to be really creative at mum's shop one day, and I would have been about 10, and I said to Mum, I want to make you a sign. And I went into the shed, because she had 2 sheds and she had all these tools, and I found a piece of wood.
Yep.
And I remember etching or words like staff only or something like this, and we hung it up where the curtains were, where people weren't allowed. And I remember that taking me a long time, but I remember etching it, like, I don't know, with a chisel or something and a hammer, and then painting. I mean, that's creative. I know it's not interior design, but there was always that, like, what can we do to make something look better? Or I think before applying for the block, we'd both just done renovations on our homes, but they were big renovations, and it certainly wasn't. I think maybe more so me than Lysandra at the beginning. I had a little bit more of a passion for wallpaper. People come into my home and say, "Oh, it's so beautiful," even though right now it's like so dated when you look back. But I definitely had that desire to make something look nice, probably, and I had that desire more so to get into the industry than Lysandra initially. But no, I'm going back to the police force, and I'm like, no, I want to start a career in this, and it was something that I think grew on Lysandra. Yeah.
I find it's just nice how the dynamic, like with Lysandra, that you followed her into the police.
Yeah, and then, true.
There's that nice kind of trust there, though, which is just, I guess, a bond that you guys have as well.
Yeah. We try to get away from each other, but it just doesn't happen.
Oh, wow. And do you find, say, when you see other siblings, I think just twins, that you have a bit more of a natural connection? Do you ever...
Compared to just a normal sibling?
If you see other people that are siblings, like, do you find...
Probably, because I think, like, even though we are so different, because we really are, like, we can look at each other and we know what the other one's thinking, and we probably think the same thing as well. Like, that's just a natural instinct to have that ability to feel the same emotion, or, it's the same gut feeling that we get, that we share. I guess it's something, you're just more in sync. Like, we used to play netball pretty competitively, and just playing on the netball court, people would be quite fascinated because of how we played with each other. It's like we didn't even have to think about it. We'd throw a ball and know the other one was going to be there. It was, So I think that's probably the same in life as well.
Yeah. Do you find that with your gut instinct, that guides you into your career path?
So much. Like, now we have learnt to trust it. And when my stomach goes like this in knots, I'm like, no. I mean, when we were 6, it did take us a long time we've always had that gut intuition, but I think it has taken time to actually give 100% trust to that instead of doubting it. So we have learnt a lot of mistakes along the way, and we have, and most of our mistakes have been probably because we didn't trust our gut instinct.
Yeah, I think sometimes, like, because I know on a creative level for me, and there's one person and that gut instinct, and you're like, and when your stomach's in knots, everything in the universe is telling you, run, other direction, But then I had this, oh, come on, Mel, like
Yes.
you know how to do it, dig in and keep going.
Mhm.
And sometimes you actually have to let it go, don't you?
Well,
And have,
we were just having this conversation about, we are so lucky that we have each other to bounce off of.
yeah.
Sometimes I sit here and think, oh God, it would be really hard to do something on your own, or,
Mm.
like not have somebody. I mean, and sometimes I guess that can be a bad thing, because you might have one thing and you might be able to convince each other that it's going to be okay. But generally now it's like, if there's doubt in one of us, then, like if Elisa's like, oh, maybe, and I'm like, nah, or vice versa, it's like, nah, it doesn't go. We're trusting our guts, not worth it. So we are each other's voice of reason and each other's sounding board, and we do definitely acknowledge that has its benefits.
Yeah. So talking about like trusting your gut and moving forward, when you're adding, so you guys are just like, I just look at what you're doing and I think it's amazing. So you've got your interiors company, then you had your duo, and then you've got now the amazing, beautiful Al.ive Body. So with all these things that you're doing and you're adding, and you're growing, you're there rubbing your head going, oh, what am I doing? Like, it's a lot of hard work. But when you do choose to add another layer and element into your business,
Yeah.
can you talk me through the process of what happens for you, like when you get this idea or what's missing or the gut feeling, and then, how do you kind of say, yeah, it's the right thing to do to take a step forward and change?
Well, I guess, I mean, I have a personality that it's like a dog at a bone. And if I get an idea in my head, that's it. Like, there's nothing stopping me. So
Yeah.
I guess, obviously, the transition from the block, leaving the police force, transition from the block into interiors was one thing. But this new venture that we're on is a completely other thing. And I think it's what it is it's never, I guess it's that permanently dissatisfied syndrome. No,
I think it's this underlying drive that
Yeah.
we've always had to succeed or to do better or to do more. And I do think that has a lot to do with our upbringing, because we came from a single mum, we didn't have much money, we lived in housing commission growing up. Although we were surrounded by a lot of friends that were quite wealthy, and we were always around people that had money, because mum always made sure, no matter what, she'd send us to a good school and make sure that she surrounded us around good friends and sport and
whole life.
So I think where that comes from, that drive to always succeed, or to do more or to do better, comes from that, and it's something that you kind of can't turn off.
It is. It's so. It's this feeling in your gut, which we have every single day, where it's not that you've got something to prove, but when you envisage success is different for everybody, right? And success for me doesn't mean rolling up in a Bentley. Success for me means creating this beautiful life for my family, having a dream property in the hills. And I think when you've got an idea in your mind of where you want to see your life and you visualize that every single day, that is what keeps you going.
Yeah, we're massive believers in manifestation.
And visualization, and just because we manifested the block. Like 100% before we even applied, we knew we were going to be on there. And I had already played it all out in my head that we were going to win.
We knew from the second we were watching the auctions one night 8 years ago, and they'd won a lot of money, right? And we were like, we looked at each other and we said, let's apply. And from that second that we made that decision, in our heart of hearts, we knew we would get in, and we knew we were going to win the block.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that was our opening line on our audition tape. We're Alisa Lysandra, and we're going to be the winners of the block 2013.
Yeah.
Like, because we honestly believed that. And there was nothing or nobody that could stop us from...
Even to the point where we didn't actually get a phone call, and I was like, no, that isn't possible, because I know we're going to win. And I was like, but the cutoff says this day. And anyway, I ended up calling the audition
production.
Yeah, the production, or the audition company. And I was like, how can this be? Like, this is not right. And she's like, oh, no. We're delayed a little bit. And I was like, oh, good, because, yeah, now that makes sense.
How can this be? Because I'm going to be on your show, whether you like it or not.
So, yeah, I think whenever we approach something, if we get it in our mind, then it's all in. And we're airy.
When you say you've got it in your minds as well, because some people find it, I guess, harder to see in their minds. Do you have anything around your office which says, it's all
all visual,
part of your DNA?
It's completely through your body. Yeah,
I love that. So I guess that's a nice little note to everybody as well. Like if you can see yourself at the finish line, you'll work out how to get there.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, so many people, it's not enough just to visualize it and manifest it. You have to put in the hard work.
Yes.
Right? Things just don't happen. You can't just dream money. You can't just dream success. You have to envisage yourself, and you have to work out how you're going to get there. And you have to. We have literally worked our asses off for the last 7 years since we finished the block, day and night. For the last 7 years, we have made so many sacrifices. Our kids, and our families have had to sacrifice along with us. Yeah. Because you can't afford to sit back, not even for a day. You can't. You've got to keep going. And if you're not willing to back it up with hard work, then it's just going to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time people think, oh, you were on the block, how good, look at your life now. But it's like, that was amazing, but it was a platform. That's right. What you did after the block, because literally the second it stopped going to air, you've forgotten about your old news. So it's what you do with that platform. I think that, I think a lot of people think that it's just an easy ride being on the block and then that's it. No.
You're 100% right, I think, doing the work. But I think one thing that I've noticed, like when you're chatting as well, and you've got a really strong sense of purpose on the why you're doing something.
Yes.
And I think that purpose, when it's something good, rather than I just want to be rich or I just want to be this, like it's for the greater good of your families.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful purpose. And also you're doing something that you're loving. Yeah. So even though it's hard work, and some days when you have your own business, you've got your head between your legs and you're like,
Totally. We don't ever feel like when we're at work, we never feel like we're at work. My husband's had 2 weeks off, and I've been in the office. I get up early, I do my exercise, I get into the office really early and I leave late, and I freaking love it. Like, it's sick. I love it. Yeah. I love it because it's not a single day of work. I mean, there are things that you're like, oh, I want to palm this off because I hate this. This is not,
Yeah. What would be one of those tasks that someone else is better off doing?
Oh, like inventory, liaising with suppliers.
You're going to regret you asked that question.
Oh, it's like there's certain parts of, especially with our live business, that like I'm like, oh my God, this is my calling. I could do this. Product design, strategizing, marketing,
implementation.
Well, no, I like creating the ideas.
She likes someone else to do it.
But I just don't like getting bogged up in the stuff that I don't need to be. And right now, because we've obviously had to wear so many hats for the last 2 years.
Yep.
We have to.
And on top of that, we are still running another business our interiors business. So, I think having to run 2 businesses at one time, and obviously we're a startup with Al.ive Body, so we don't want to have to get too many people in to help at this point in time, because that's just not what you do. You need to put in the hard yards and then get some money behind you in order to be able to do that, or do further product development. So I think now we're probably finding it. Well, now I am probably the hardest. Yeah, it has been because of trying to
juggle.
Trying to juggle both businesses.
Yeah. So let's just talk a little bit more about Al.ive, because I love everything about this. So it's really new to market, and you guys have just done, considering what's going on in the world at the moment, you guys have just done like an amazing record month, like with your sales. It's exciting. I just think, obviously, you've got so much respect, from your following as well. And then but it's insane in this
It's
climate.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
When we first thought of this idea 18 months ago, I knew it was going to take off, and I know in the next 2 years it's going to be something even bigger. But I didn't think it would take off quite as well as it has. Like, it's been just absolutely, like, amazing.
That's so great.
I know. I mean, initially we were like, oh my gosh, we literally have put in 18 months of hard work and we're about to launch a business when, you know, COVID.
The world's crashing.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? We were like, do we just hold off? Do we just wait it out? And then we're like, no. And then we were kind of, well, really, I guess if you are going to launch a business during this time, can you really, well, other than hand sanitizer, can you really think of, sorry, we're like monkeys, hang on.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I used to remember Mum chased me around with the tissue.
Yeah, so it was like could we really pick a better product to launch?
Well, I think as well, because everyone's at home, so they want their home. Their home is everything at the moment. Their home is the restaurant. It's their day spa.
Yeah.
Your home is everything, and what better thing to have in it is something beautiful that's great for you, and luxurious.
And people can justify it at the moment, can't they? You know, we need to wash our hands. They can justify it to their husbands.
Yeah. Can we talk about some of the actual amazing ingredients that you've put into the product? Because I'm allergic to a lot of stuff, and I've had to move a lot more into away from the chemical side of things. So what you've done here, like, for me, is super exciting, and I use all natural, and especially at the moment we're washing our hands
all the time.
So what made you want to move into a beautiful natural style of product? And
well, I think everybody's expecting more out of their products these days. There's so many unnecessary chemicals that go into the products we're using, and I just don't think that people actually even realise. So when we sat down with our formulator, we gave them a very specific brief, and we went back and forth, and we've ended up with something that is nice and gentle on your body and your hands, and smells amazing.
Smells great.
Which is obviously important too. We did take some time out to actually speak to people and find out what they wanted. How important is it to be completely natural? And as well, as you would understand, to be completely natural is all natural is very hard if you want shelf life as well. So it was finding that balance as well. And also listening to people, would they prefer it smelling nicer, or would they prefer it being 100% natural? So we found that balance, and we worked really hard with our formulator to do that.
I think one of the most important things for us was not to use palm oil. So it did take a lot longer, the formulation side of it, because we were trying to source products that would enable us to not use palm oil. And then when you don't use palm oil, that also affects other ingredients. So
and obviously that does come at a price too. So it was finding that balance of that price point as well. But
we're really proud to develop a product that doesn't use palm oil. And there are a lot of products out there that say, you know, we don't use palm oil, but they use,
well, it's coconut is derived, or so you can never really trace back.
And this is the hard thing. This is where consumer gets really confused.
Yeah.
And I think when you're clear, and then, you know, again, that goes straight back to your brand. Like, it's honest.
Yeah. So no, we've been, I mean, the feedback about the product has been absolutely amazing, and it's something that we didn't think people, like, when you're developing a product and you're like, oh my God, people are just going to be talking about the actual product and how it looks, and it's almost been the other way around. People like, it smells divine and it feels divine, and I had sensitive skin and I use it and I don't, and it's been something that has been unexpected from my point of view anyway.
Yeah. And can I just say, like, the actual packaging itself, how much did you have in designing that? Because I know that the inside's good for you, but the outside, beautiful.
That was the whole premise of why we started Al.ive, because we were doing a project in Albert Park and we came to selling our bathrooms and we were like, what's out on the market that isn't your typical shape bottle, round bottle?
Yeah, and they're chunky and
everybody uses the same shape bottle. Stock standard brown bottle. We just wanted something a bit different and we couldn't find it. And that's where Alisa was like, she rang me up and she goes, let's make a hand soap. And I was like, no way. Like, we're not going to be able to. I was like, we're not going to be able to compete in this market.
Yeah, because it is a busy market.
It's saturated. And
I remember sending her a message saying, can we do this? And she was like, no, it's saturated. And I was like, tell me no, and I'm going to show you. And so I worked on it for about 3 months without telling her.
Well, then she came back to me with the name as well. And I was like, oh, my God, I think it was more the name that kind of got me excited.
Yeah.
But from where we were with that initial idea to where we are now with the bottle is something completely different. Like, you should see our first prototypes from where we are now. Like, that was developed. And I guess aesthetically, because we are designers, that was at the forefront.
Yeah.
Like, that was
how we were going to disrupt this market.
Exactly. We needed to disrupt the market. We didn't want to come in and just do another typical brown bottle. We wanted to disrupt the market. And
so the whole process was very, very intensive. We looked high and low to see if there was something already, a mold that was produced that was something a little bit different. It wasn't. We then went to an industrial designer and we drew the initial concept on SketchUp, which is a project we use for our interior design.
Oh.
And we got one 3D printed and we're like, it needs shoulders on it. So then we got Play-Doh and we glued the shoulders and then we spray painted it in black.
Yay.
So that you could see it all blended. And then we said, oh, we like this shape. Can you draw this up? He drew it up, went back and forth. That was a massive process. We then got a mould made, a tool made. They sent us prototypes and we're like, shit, the shoulders aren't quite right. And people are like, oh, no, it's okay, it's fine. And we're like, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So then we paid another X amount of dollars to have the tool remade. That set us back probably 3 months. And
wow.
3 months. And the final tool was
Look, and I think there's something nice about that interlocking system. Kind of, it represents kind of us as well. To a better than one and stronger together and
side by side.
Yeah.
Aww. Virtual hugs, guys. But it's really nice. I think everything that you seem to do, there's purpose and there's a reason behind what you're doing. And I think it's great, and I think that's where a lot of people miss the mark within their businesses, and it's like they just don't have that alignment, that purpose and the good behind it. There's like, you've got to know that.
And I remember sitting on the beach and I was coming up with names and I was writing them in the sand. And we've always, especially me, I think, has had this just a love for nature. Every time I can escape to nature, I will. It's just something that makes me feel, I don't know, grounded and centered. Yeah. And when I was writing the name, I was like, what's a play on obviously our name? But we've always talked about wanting to give back, and we've always come up with ideas of maybe we can one day go overseas and help build a community, and we've always talked about it. And I was sitting there and I was like, what can we do for this business that is going to give back? And I thought, why not give back and we can plant trees? And then the idea came into our head, why don't we plant a tree with every product that's purchased? And I think maybe that's also the name that is so fitting, is because we want to help keep the planet alive, and trees are so important to this entire planet. And
it was funny because we were, with the whole tree thing, we were looking at overseas, and then the bushfires happened.
Yeah.
So then we had to rejig some things and find a charity that we could align with that would plant trees in Australia, because for us that's important after everything that we've been through as a country. So we did have to rejig that, and we are paying more per tree that we plant. But for us as a brand, that meant more being able to help our own country
Yeah.
get through this difficult time.
Yeah, so hopefully we've aligned with One Tree Planted, and they obviously they're a US company, so they've just found another charity to align with here. So hopefully once this is all over, we can actually start getting our hands dirty, and we actually really do want to be in the back end of this. And our goal is to plant a live forest.
I love that.
Today we're up to 2,000 trees.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so hopefully, within the next couple of years, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine having your own forest. That's pretty cool. That's something you wouldn't have been thinking of when you were a kid.
No.
We are going to have our own forest. It's so beautiful. I just recently was in the country helping mum and dad on the farm for a couple of weeks because mum was a bit sick over Christmas and they couldn't afford in this environment to have someone go up. So I said, look, I'm not working. I'll come up and give you a hand. And so just driving through the mountains and seeing the devastation from the bushfires, like, I don't know how much our country at the moment could take. We had the droughts, which at Christmas time we had to pump water from a bore, take it over the hill to feed the cattle. The cattle was skin and bones. It was literally a dirt paddock. And then they've had all this rain now. So then we had the bushfires after the drought. Thank God our property was fine, but just driving there the other week, it's just like I was driving and crying at the same time because it's the first time I've driven up through there because at Christmas I had to fly back because the roads were blocked. So I was just in tears, like trying to drive on the swervy road going, this isn't very safe. But then I noticed a couple of things and the green after the rain, it was sprouting. It was, I wish you were allowed to stop and take photos right now. I didn't. I didn't want to be, arrested or fined for going in the wrong direction. But it was just to see life come back.
Yes.
Just with a little bit of something.
Yeah, it does.
It was
And
magical.
I think, that is really exciting to see that. But I think the devastation comes from the animals and the biodiversity and that's what's going to take the time. Do you know what I mean? Trees do grow back.
Yeah.
Animals that have been wiped out or some, extinct. And that's what's going to take the years to get back. So, trees are great, obviously, for emissions and to bring down greenhouse gases, but the biodiversity side of it as well, I think, is equally as important.
I wonder as well, just like looking forward, because I don't think after the bushfires we've actually had much time to we've gone into the COVID experience.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see soon. The actual. I don't think people have been able to get out and see.
Yeah.
Like they know that there's a lot of things being lost within the biodiversity and animals, but we haven't actually been able to get back out into the wild. And
it's been a rough year, hasn't it?
Oh my God! And you know what? I feel grateful. Look, live in the city. But I see what family have gone through, farmers have gone through, and it just breaks your heart. And the fact that
country towns that we've just gotten over the bushfires. Now let's get everybody back and start spending money. Oh no, sorry, you can't. I leave. Our borders are closed. So that's like there's just so much devastation in all of this. But I
know that you guys are doing something great though, and then, you quickly pivoted when you realised the bushfires and then you've done something here.
Yes, it was very important to us. Yeah. I think we're actually looking at planting in Africa initially because you can get so much more, for your money. But as soon as this hit in Australia, we were like, no. Yeah. Just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. My love, you've got, you created a beautiful product with all Australian ingredients as well. It's all, you making the product here as well. Like, what you're giving back as to the greater community as well as delivering a great product to consumer is just really commendable.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know how hard it is to do something like in Australia as well. But I've seen friends do it with their fashion labels and things, and it's hard. Like business here is hard, but the fact that you're like, no, we'd rather have the right go behind it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing. So now a couple of other little things. What would you say, like, is there any time that you could talk about just to help some of the audience sort of go into a bit of a resilient mindset? Like, is there anything that you've been through where you've just literally had your head between your legs going, I can't breathe? Like any of those moments, and that, your process of how do you get to that next step and move past the fear or the rejection or the stress of that situation?
I personally think that we are where we are now because of all the mistakes we've made along the way.
Yeah.
And when we make a mistake now compared to when we made it earlier, we see that as just another kink in the chain, really, just another hurdle to overcome, and you come out stronger on the other side. There were lots of things that we learned from the design duo and buying property at the wrong time. Like there was we kind of did just jump into that blindsided, and the results didn't pay off for us in the end. We produced a beautiful home, but financially it wasn't there. So now we've gone into Al.ive looking at it a bit differently. So we don't look at that as a mistake. Yes,
the time though. Yeah, at the time, my God, that was the worst time of our lives. Like we'd invested all this money, like so much money, and like Lysandra said, we bought at the wrong time. We unfortunately just went through some bad experiences, and
I think it's just about learning from that, correcting it next time you do it, and overcoming it that way. So now when something hits us or there's a roadblock, we definitely handle it a little bit differently because we're like, well, that happened for a reason, and we've got to learn from that. And I know that does sound a bit lame and cliche. You've got to learn, you've got to fall to, rise from it. But I think if you reset your mind, and there are so many things since the block, so many people we've met, so many situations and time and effort and money that we put ourselves through. And at the time you're like, this has caused me so much time, stress, pain. Why? Why me? And then down the track you go, that's why. I met that person because they taught me X, Y, Z, and I learned this from them, and now I'm implementing it here. So I guess when you hit that poor me or that roadblock, you're like, this is just teaching you a lesson, and it's saying you're not meant to go down this path, you're meant to go down this path. And I think everybody in business will experience that. And if you're not, you will. And I think it's just about preparing yourself that is a part of the journey.
Yeah.
And when you do we've hit a roadblock recently, and it's like, right, past experience have taught us that we need to do X, Y, and Z to get over this. So it's all about preparing yourself for the future, I guess, and not letting that impact you too much at that point in time, because it can, and we're guilty of it. We've let it literally drown us and consume us, but I think we've now been through it enough
to know that it's
like you do come out at the other end, and you come out better.
Yeah. I think as well, sometimes with even what's on social media and things that are out there, the expectation of things are A to B, and there's your line.
Yes.
And the reality of life, the takeaway business is, it's this. And I think the more people start to see that that is the journey,
wouldn't you rather that be your journey? Like, wouldn't you
most of the time? I'd say 80% of the time.
If you don't have that, then you don't have that.
It's so true.
I mean, and it is so true. I'm like, sometimes people, I'm like, would I want to be born into money? No. Why? Because that means you haven't ever experienced this.
Yeah.
And I quite often think if someone said, here's $1 trillion, and other than obviously having that money and doing very good with it and making sure that, would I want that personally? No, because I wouldn't have appreciation or satisfaction for anything. Like hands down, 100%. If someone said, "Here's $1 trillion," there goes all your joy. There goes all your passion. What other than obviously being able to help people, which is put that aside.
Yeah.
If you just got handed everything on a silver platter, you would not have that feeling that you get where you're like, shit, we did that.
Well, that sale just came through.
Yeah, that's because of our hard work. We did that. That gratification of going, our hard work has paid off.
Yeah.
Without, like Lysandra said, without experiencing the hard times, you just don't have appreciation for the good times.
Yeah. I think that's really, really true. And just allow yourself to process that up and down.
It's a bit like Hollywood movies, right? You know, the whole love story? I just think that's bullshit because people watch that and they think that's how life is. And it's like Instagram, and they see all these people, I made $200,000 in my first month, and I did this and I did that, and they're not actually showing you the actual experience behind it. It's just setting everybody else up to fail and feel shit about themselves.
Yeah.
No, so I'm going to teach my kids not to watch those romantic love stories because that's not life.
Yeah. So Moana's not real. I'm a Disney girl. If I've had a crazy week, which I haven't had for a while, but I'll put a Disney film on at the.
Not that young.
Instead for a while.
You know, like the Notebook shit. Yeah, the Notebook shit. Like just all the happily ever after and like, ugh.
Yeah, it's true though. I think, I don't think I've ever been in a relationship that's been like, hey.
Exactly. Yeah,
No,
it's not hot and steamy forever.
Oh my God. So I'm just running through all my questions and things, and there's a few things, but I think we've kind of answered so many of them on our great journey today as well. One thing I did want to sort of say is, like your character strengths as individuals. Could you list your top 3 for each of you? Like what you think your top character strengths might be that you bring to your partnership?
Mine certainly is never giving up.
Yeah.
And if I don't know something, I'll learn it.
Yeah.
And I never stop until I at least know how to do something to get us to the next point. Which I guess sometimes being the personality type that I am, a bit controlling, a bit like, it's got its bonuses, but it's also got its, negatives as well, because it means that I can just never relax. It means that I can never, I'm always switched on. I think that's where we complement each other in to a certain extent, is that she's like that all the time.
Yes.
And if I was like that too, then it wouldn't happen. And I'm probably more down here. I'm more of the relaxed, probably more easygoing. But if she was like that, then it wouldn't work either.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely have strengths that balance each other out, because if we were both the same as each other, it would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Another strength. Yeah, I think mine would have to be the same, not, never giving up and just willing to put in the hard work, get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
But also maybe trying to think other than just being just completely determined, motivated, just that desire to just strive for more and never settling, never just being satisfied with no, you can't do it. Always finding a way. Problem solving is, I problem solve every single day. Yeah, Lisa's really good at problem solving. And
I think that's a really key thing as well, because I think when people do get roadblocks, sometimes a level of fear may come in for them, and they just, okay, great, or they might get that, that I'm not good enough, or this has come up, and okay, I'll take a step back. But if you've got that problem solving and rather seeing something as a jigsaw puzzle, and you're just there to find the solution, so changing that mindset rather than this is telling me, like the gut feeling doing this says no. But if something's doing this and it's just a hurdle, right? Okay,
but there is always a solution. There is always a solution. You just have to find it.
I love
and quickly as well. I think being on your toes and being able to dodge and then get back on the right track is, after Albert Park was a bit of a flop, as in we had to sell and lose money on it, and it wasn't, the ending that we were hoping. I look at that and I go, okay, so if that was a success like we'd have hoped, we would have jumped straight into our next flip. And this wouldn't have happened. And I remember allowing myself a week just to be it took over my body, just feeling absolutely sick about the work and the effort that we'd put in. And it should have been, we bought it at prime time and we sold in the worst time, and we needed to get rid of it. And I think that happened because that wasn't our journey. That happened, and literally the minute it happened, we could have sat there and felt sorry for ourselves, but bam, on to the next thing straight away. My husband's like, you promised that you would have a break. Like, this was meant to be like it for a bit. Can you just relax? And I'm like, no, because the work's not done.
I sold my house to fund my side of this business.
Wow.
So it was that thing of, like, pick yourself up. Yeah, we're already in debt, but hey, I'm going to sell my house and potentially be in more debt. But it's, I guess, not having that frame of mind and going, no, we believe in this so much that I'm prepared to sell my house, rent somewhere, and invest that money into the business. So, yeah, I think we knew it from the very start, and it's been a very exciting journey so far, and it's been mind-blowing, really.
It's the same feeling that we had when we did the block and we knew that we were going to win. There is nothing that will get in our way to make this successful. Like, it is already, but, I mean, in the next few years, there are massive, massive plans for this company.
And I know you can't give too much away, I'm assuming, but, you know, does that mean there's opportunity to expand the range?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's something that we're always working on. And, I mean, product development takes a long time, and it also takes a lot of money, capital, and, financing.
But, so that's our next. Obviously, we've launched this, and it's like, right, what next? So that's where our focus is now, and that gets the fire in the belly again.
Yeah. And I think you need that fire in the belly to keep going, especially, you know, when you had your ups and your downs. And when you get that, it's like, okay, come on.
Yeah,
it's exciting talking to you guys because I see that, like, and when you start to talk about it, you get the you see it in people, and that means people can feel it, and then that's what the product's delivering as well, which you're living and breathing it. So it's just amazing. Yeah. I'm very excited to see, you know, what comes.
Right.
Have us back in a couple of years. That will be exciting.
Most definitely. For more details on Alisa and Lysandra's Al.ive Body range, head over to the Beauty Boss Business website. I'm Melanie Burnicle, your host for Brilliant Brains and Beautiful Minds. Catch you next time.